ladies, my name is Jessica and welcome to Makeup Misfit. So for today's video, it's going to be a little bit of a different one. I saw this eyeshadow palette tag go around. It's round 2, I believe. I did not do the first one, so this is the first time I'm going to jump on this. And I believe it was created by Allie Glines and Samantha March. But I have all of the prompts on my phone in front of me, so I have all of the eyeshadow palettes in front of me. I'm going to go through them with you guys and just kind of explain why I chose them for each category. So I believe there's 11 of them. So for number 1, it's an all-time favorite palette. And for me, I decided I was going to go with my ABH Soft Glam palette. I loved this thing, and yes, I used this as my palette for last year, so the usage on here is quite good. But I just really liked this palette even prior to panning it last year. I always found that I could make really gorgeous looks with it, something super simple, just like a one and done, or just go a little bit more. Like, I was always able to get some really pretty looks. I loved everything that I have done with this one. It's a very staple neutral palette. The colors, the tones, everything in here was just calling my name when this first came out. I didn't purchase it right away, but I was super happy that I finally did it, and I still love this palette even though I've been working on, or I was working on it for quite a while last year. It still has a little piece of me. So for the second prompt, it is your new favorite palette. And for this one, I decided to go with my Melt Gemini palette. I use this in my Alice in Wonderland Project Pan when I rolled it in back in October. And this color story is just everything. This color story, I've just been gravitating towards this. Like, when this came out, it just drew me in. It's grungy, it's gorgeous. I love it. I really enjoyed the formula. I loved the looks that came out of this. And I would love to reach for this again sometime soon because I haven't reached for it in quite a while, but I really, really did absolutely love it. So she would for sure be my new all-time favorite. So the third prompt is keep for the memories. So this is actually something that I just went and purchased this morning. Not for this video because I did film this previously, but I purchased this palette based on memories. It is 110% packaging. That is it. The color story is not what it showed in the photos. Otherwise, it would have been the whole absolute palette. But this is the brand new Essence My Rose Will Go On eyeshadow palette. That is the color story. It was supposed, like, the photos showed it was pink, but that's not even why I bought it. Really, it was just this packaging, 110%. Even just the names on the back. So this is not exactly going into my makeup collection anytime soon. This is going to sit off to the side, so I'm not counting it in anything. But this I absolutely bought for the memories, and it is one that I will be keeping for the memories for quite a long time. So for the fourth prompt, we have an underrated product, or an underrated palette. And I was really unsure about this one because I'm not quite sure like what palettes I have that might be underrated. I do have some older palettes that I wasn't sure if like those would count or not, but I ended up going with my Vizier Solstice palette, and really because it's only about a year old or so, but I never really hear people talk about this. Of course they did when it first came out, but even then it wasn't like super hyped up. I know Emily Noel talks about Vizier all the time, but this Solstice palette, I really haven't heard anybody talk about. But considering how much I've used it, I really love it. I think it's gorgeous. It's super pretty. I have a chunk falling out, so I gotta be really careful. But I think she's cute, she's pretty, and she's definitely underrated since I never hear anybody talk about her. Number 5 is not a favorite but can't get rid of. Now for this one, I have 2 palettes. They are both by Pat McGrath. Do not ask me why I can't get rid of these because I have no idea. Not a clue. So this one, I believe, was a holiday palette, but I don't know if it was for 2018 or 2019. So I'll just show you what she looks like real quick there. I've used it a couple of times. And then this one is just one that was broken. One that's, it was like her original ones or something like that. This one I have not used yet, but it's super pretty, simple, neutral colors. Don't know. Don't know what it is. Don't know why I can't get rid of it. Not necessarily mad about it, but I tell myself I should, and I just never do. I just can't pull the trigger and actually do it. So they're going to stick around for a little bit longer. Number 6 is your favorite collab. Now, this was 110%. I actually almost went with another palette until I was like, Jessica, no, what are you thinking? This is the only collaboration palette that I was like on the mark on like 1 o'clock or whatever time it launched. I was on there. I bought it. That was it. That was all. This is my ColourPop and Lizzie McGuire palette. To me, I could care less if it was ColourPop or any other brand. They collaborated and did a Lizzie McGuire palette, and I could not pass this up for the life of me. I absolutely loved Lizzie McGuire as a kid. Hilary Duff, just love her, still do. I still think they're great. The Lizzie McGuire movie, like, that's a good movie. If you haven't watched it, you need to go watch that movie. It is so good. So absolutely 110%. The Lizzie McGuire and ColourPop collaboration will always, probably always be my absolute favorite collaboration of all time. So for number 7, we have a 2021 favorite. Now, I purchased this palette back in 21, but I did not actually start using it until 22. But because I purchased it in 21, I'm going to go with that. I'm not going to open this because she is broken and getting messy, but this is my Mercury Retrograde palette by Huda Beauty. I love this thing. Like, I've loved the color story from the very beginning. Obviously, that's why I bought it. I loved the packaging, everything about it. But when I actually started using it, I really have loved the looks that I've created with this. So I would 100, like, a part of me wishes I actually started reaching for it like much, much sooner, but I just couldn't bring myself to do that and get out of the mindset of it being too pretty to touch. But I absolutely love this thing. She is definitely my 2021 favorite palette that I have purchased. Number 8 is Didn't Expect to Love. So I actually pulled in 2 palettes for this one as well because both of them for different reasons. So the first one I'm going to show you is another ABH palette, and this is the Norvina, which, yes, I also panned this one last year. So as you can see, there's a lot of good usage on here, and when I first bought this, like, I loved the color story, but I think I didn't expect to love this because I wasn't sure how to use it. Like, I think I had kind of gone out of color a little bit, and especially with like the pinks and the purple, I was really nervous about using them. But I had seen like a few different looks and people like combining the shades together, so I decided to try a few of them, and I loved it from then on, and I really did enjoy using it. Obviously there's a couple of shades in here like Soul down here and maybe this Drama shade up here. I don't think I'll ever actually enjoy using those shades too much, but the rest of this palette, the palette as a whole, I absolutely grew to love it, and I was so happy that I did because I absolutely love the usage that I've put on this palette last year. Now, the second palette that I chose for this, the only reason why I didn't expect to love it was because I really wasn't sure what to expect. So this is actually my Natasha Denona Love palette. And I did not want this when it originally came out, but I purchased it when it was half off. And the color story just kind of didn't grab me when I saw it online. And I really wanted the retro palette, so I kind of bought this to see if I would like the formula. And when I got it in person, like, the color story is much nicer than what I saw online. I really do like it a lot more, and I've loved the looks that have come out of it. And honestly, I'm like very, very happy that I have this in my collection now, and it's like wanting me to purchase the retro palette even more. So I absolutely think that this is a palette that I did not expect to like or love as much as I did, just because I had no expectations and I wasn't quite sure. The color story was throwing me off a bit. Number 9 is a palette that sparks joy. So I had to go with 2 of them for this as well. I know it's only supposed to be 1 palette, but I couldn't. Both of these just like have my heart. I have not used either of these yet. They are both newer to my collection, but just seeing them, they just make me so happy. So the first one is my Violet Voss Care Bears palette. This packaging, I love it so much. It makes me so, so happy. It's so cute. Like, if you saw, I think it was my Sephora VIB unboxing, like when I opened this, I could not get over it. I didn't even want to get rid of the box, even though it's the exact same packaging. So packaging alone just makes me so happy. The color story in here, it's so cute. It's so bright. Even the packaging on the inside is gorgeous. I just love this. Like, it is so, so cute. And I've swatched the shades in here and they're beautiful. So I'm super excited to actually start using this. And I'm hoping that when I do, it's going to bring me just as much joy as it does just by looking at it. And of course, the second one is my Gimme Glow Pastel Dreams palette. This packaging just has my heart. It just does something to me. I love it. And same as the inside. This color story is so beautiful. It is so pretty. It's pastel, but it's cute and it's slightly brighter and it's just like everything. I love it so, so much. So this palette and this little mini palette here just make me so happy. So the next category is number 10, which is your newest palette to your collection. So this one I got for Christmas from my mom, and this is the Maybelline Nudes of New York palette. I've used this a couple of times. So I've only had it for about a month or so, but it's very pretty. I really do like it. I've been wanting it for a little while, so I asked her to grab it for me for Christmas, and she did. So this would be my newest eyeshadow palette, because like I said, I'm not counting this one as in my makeup collection right now, so this does not count as being like purchased for makeup. So this would still be my newest palette to my collection. And last but not least is your first palette that you used in 2022. And for me, that was pretty easy. I honestly don't remember if I used a second palette with this or not. Probably not, but this is my Viseart Midsummer palette. So I'm not going to show you the inside because this is my Pan That palette for this year. So of course, that's why this was the first palette that I reached for. I have been reaching for this pretty much every single day. So of course, I knew that this was such an easy one for me to remember. And if I happened to use a different palette with it, that I don't know, I don't remember. But this one, absolutely for sure, my very first palette used in this year. So that is this panning. This is the eyeshadow palette tag. So like I said, I will leave each of the categories, the prompts in the description box if you wanted to play along. I would love to know what your guys's are. So in the comments down below, you can just copy and paste the prompts and let me know your answers, because I think it would be so much fun to read them all. And if you have a video up like this, let me know that as well, because I would love to go and watch it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys all later. Bye.